Okay, this episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta was actually pretty good. It was actually one of those episodes where maybe a bit of a filler episode, but it was easy to digest. So, pretty much, this episode, we see the girls arrive in Scotland. We see them, look at their rooms. We see them argue and sort of try to patch things up and try to figure out who's lying and who's not lying. Either way, we'll get into all of that right now. So, welcome back to my channel. My name is OJ. Welcome back to another review of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. We will be reviewing season number 17, episode number 13. Now, I have my iPad here with all my notes, and yeah, it's a lot. And I'm pretty much just going to start from the very top and work my way through the episode. So, at the start of the episode, we see all the girls show up to the airport in Atlanta in preparation for their trip over to Scotland. Everyone looked nice. I also forgot that I guess Scotland is a cold place. I mean, I never really thought much of it. Like me personally, I've never been to Scotland, and I'm assuming that this time of the year when they would normally film in Atlanta or in America would be the summertime. So it makes sense why, yeah, why when I would see them in Atlanta during this period on the show, they look like they're always in like summer clothes. Versus when they were flying over to Scotland, they had to dress in something more warm, something more comfortable. Anyway, um, they arrive in Scotland, and then we see all the girls get driven out to the estate slash wherever this castle is, and it actually looks so beautiful. Like I never really thought much of Scotland, but just from the little that I've seen, the countryside, the castle, it looks amazing. So pretty much the premise of this trip is for Phaedra's birthday, but also at the same time, it's also because both Phaedra and Portia had done this TV show called, what is it called again? Oh my god, I'm forgetting. Traders, which is based out of Scotland. So then they had the opportunity to travel over there, and I guess it's like a good theme for them to do something different. Because by something different, I also noticed that most of the vacations that the girls have been taking or had taken in the past had always taken them to somewhere that was tropical, somewhere that was sunny. So seeing them in my opinion, like a different sort of environment, something that was not what I was used to for seeing what I was used to when it came to seeing the Real Housewives of Atlanta on vacation. It was nice. It was nice to see something different. Anyway, let me get back to it. So when they arrive at the castle, on the way to the castle, they all were, chit chatting in their little cars. They had their questions about whatever was going on. Kelly had a question, which I thought was kind of funny when she was like, "Are there black people in Scotland? Is there a hood?" Which I thought that was funny because I don't know, like me personally, I never really thought of it like that. But at the same time, there is black people because, as you did see when they first pulled up to the castle, there was a black Scottish guy in front, and I think he's famous all over social media for, I guess, the Scottish dance. I can't, Lord, please forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong or not even naming it right, but I believe he's famous for the Scottish dance. Anyway, so they pull up to the place, the castle, and then they go in. They pretty much meet the guy who's in the front, who then starts, taking them inside. Most of the group go to a table, sit down, they have drinks. Both Portia and Phaedra go up, and he pretty much shows them all their rooms. From what I see, everyone looks like they'll be getting good rooms. I can't see them having a room where they would probably complain. But then, knowing these girls, something will pop up. I mean, like, it's par for the course. It's for entertainment. It is what it is. So the house itself is stunning. Like, I would always say that there is something about, like, like older buildings from back in the day, older looking structures, just anything sort of antique. Because the inside, like, it's not the same decor that we would have in what we seem to love nowadays, which is like the minimalist, the white stuff. Like it's very deep, rich colors, and it was beautiful. I loved it. Um, while both Phaedra and Portia are getting a tour of the place and getting pretty much the lay of the land and whose room is what and picking rooms and all that, we have the rest of the girls sitting at the table, and they're just pretty much, well, they start talking, they start discussing, and in a way, it's sort of like catching up with what everyone has going on, only like a few people. So pretty much Pinky brings up the fact that she's going ahead with her movie, and she has finalized the budget. I think it's a movie that's what, $50,000 budget or whatever it is, and they're using Shamia. And I said in my previous review from the episode where Shamia had to audition, I thought Shamia did an amazing job. Like me personally, I'm also not a movie producer. Just so you know, I'm just OJ from the internet. Anyway, I felt that Shamia did an amazing job. So I guess I look forward to seeing what comes of this. I would. I think I will see it on whatever streaming platform it comes out on. So yeah, kudos to them. Kudos to Pinky. Um, so Kelly lets them know that Phaedra is her attorney and that Phaedra had reached out to her to offer her services. And obviously, they had spoken about this in one of the previous episodes. And I think it's beautiful and I think it's great of Phaedra to, offer her services because she also mentioned that, this is something that she had been through. She had been through a public divorce with Apollo and she had, she understands the pain as a mother, as, someone in front of the cameras. So, hats off to Phaedra for doing this for Kelly. Um, so they pretty much also catch up with like Kelly's living arrangements, and she mentions how she is in Shamia's rental, which I think is a beautiful thing that Shamia has. She's available and able to help a friend, and Pinky took the help. So I think it's beautiful as well. Cynthia also offers help. She pretty much says like reach out to any of us. Like we're here to support. We understand, or we've probably been through something similar, or what have you. And pretty much, yeah, Kelly should reach out from what Cynthia said to her. Kelly then pretty much sort of rebutted that, like not in a bad way, but she rebutted that with, well, I wrote down here, yeah, no, I don't trust you all. In a way, like, which I understand, because from what she said afterwards, she didn't want it to come across like because she had reached out for help, it is something that will be held over her, which I don't think when it comes down to it, outside of all the shade, outside of all the fun, outside of all the silliness, I feel like when it comes to things that are very serious, things that are to do with people's lives, livelihood, their children, businesses, I feel like these girls, they don't go that far, if that makes sense. Well, from what I see anyway, I could be seeing something completely different. Someone else may be seeing something different, and then they'll be like, well, OJ, actually, you're wrong. So, and I can be wrong as well. So, just saying. While they were talking, Angela, I guess she speaks up and she mentions how she was or is the least supported, which I'm unsure. I'm unsure what Angela meant by that. I'm unsure where Angela, like where these feelings are coming from. Maybe I must have missed something, so I didn't really write too many notes on that. I'm just sort of going to skim past it, if that makes sense. Um, and while Angela's speaking, she also brings up the guy from last year. The bald-headed guy that came and said that, I don't know, raise your glasses if your name's Angela and your husband's cheating on you, whatever. I'm not going to speak on it. That's old, whatever. So Shamia and Angela go back at it again. Like it is, to me at this point, it is very reductive. I am so overseeing these two go back and forth about this whole Shamia sleeping with an entire NBA team. And yeah, like, I don't know where this is coming from. I would like to know what happened. Like, what happened to derail them? Because I am so confused. Like, I really must have missed something, or I must have forgotten something. I also understand that, obviously, because my reviews light, so my memory probably is like when it comes to the show in this aspect. So I understand. Please forgive me, guys. Where are we now? And so pretty much they start arguing, like, over this stupid Shamia sleeping with the Hawks players and blah blah blah. All while Phaedra and them are getting a tour. That was so funny to me, like seeing the differences of what's going on upstairs versus these two. So then it pretty much comes out from Shamia that Angela has been asking around about Shamia. And the thing that pops up is they talk about this guy named George. So George had given Shamia a donation, I believe, to like one of her charities or a charity that she is either in charge of or she is one of the big sponsors for. I don't know what it is. But what Angela pretty much puts out there is the guy may have slept with Shamia and he was paying not for the services, but based off his comments, he said that, what did he say? She was so fine, I had to pay her. Now, my thing is this. We found out later that from George, the donation guy, from his wife, Ashley, she sort of clarifies that what Angela had said about him apparently sleeping with Shamia and then obviously giving the money because of that whole thing or because of whatever their relationship may be was a lie. So then, me personally, I was thinking, okay, well, did the wife say this? Because obviously George and them are neighbors to Angela. But then it turns out it was just Angela that said that. And the reasons she said that was, from what she explained, she just wanted to see Shamir's, not wanted to see Shamir's reaction. I don't even know why she said that. Actually, no, she said that the reason she said that was because of his comments about, she was so fine and had to pay her. Now, I felt that I took it as though he was just paying someone charity because he thought that they were good looking. I don't know, like just paying attention to someone because he thought that they were good looking. I mean, isn't that what everyone does whenever they see, beautiful people outside, or like, pretty privilege is a thing, guys. So for Angela to automatically jump to that conclusion by saying that he only gave the money because he was already sleeping with Shamia, or he is sleeping with Shamia, I don't understand. It's giving a little bit of projection. It's also giving, she obviously has something against Shamia. She obviously has some sort of personal vendetta against Shamia, and she's trying to get Shamia for something. Now, I could be wrong, but that's just what I saw and what I felt. Because for me, I'm just like, okay, so it came out, or Angela pretty much said herself that she just made the whole sleeping bit up based off his comments. Why? My question is why? Like, why does it seem like Angela has it out for Shamia? Like I said, did I miss something? Because can someone let me know down below? Because I am confused. I am genuinely confused with what happened to derail them. Like, it is the question of my lifetime. Well, not really, but the question for me right now. Like, I don't understand. I genuinely must have missed something. So pretty much once Angela finishes speaking, Cynthia sort of pipes in, and Cynthia and Angela, because Portia's name was brought up as well, those three seem to suggest, or it was put out there by Cynthia herself, that they believe Shamia is creating division. And then they show them back in Dallas when Angela says that, Shamia is a division, or she's creating division with her crew, and her crew being Kelly, K. Michelle, and who was the other one? Pinky. And pretty much, I genuinely don't understand. I don't understand why it's seeming like they are sort of pushing this group versus that group type of thing, and I'm unsure why Cynthia made that comment, because it's giving like her and her friends, Phaedra, Portia, Angela, even Drew, sort of had like a little side conversation, and now Cynthia is bringing this to Shamia, and pretty much assuming that Shamia pretty much is like the head bitch in charge of the other crew, and she sort of has her puppets in order. This is what I'm seeing, or what I'm getting from what they're saying, and I'm so confused about that. I genuinely don't understand. I'm taking it as this crew is pretty much full of newbies, and they all are just sticking together. The other crew, apart from Angela, is pretty much full of like veterans or people that have been on the show for a while. So naturally, they already had like a inbuilt relationship from years ago. Just my thoughts. I could be very wrong. So obviously, Phaedra and Portia come back and pretty much say like, what is going on? Why do we hear people arguing? Blah blah blah. We all know why. Like, these trips can never get off to a good start. Like, well, it seemed like it was getting off to a good start, especially at the start when they were like just catching up with each other at the table, seeing where everyone was at, what was going on, and then clearly things derailed. And then now they pretty much all, spear off to their rooms to get ready for dinner, because I think dinner is in a few hours, and it's not going to be at home. Like, they will be going to a restaurant. So that was cute. That was cute seeing them break up for a while, because this was insane. But then even when they broke up at the same time, they had all gone to their rooms, and then Shamia then gets a text from George's wife confirming that Angela is lying. And what Angela was lying about was the comment of Shamia sleeping with George. Insane, right? So this also left me questioning, like, Angela, what is going on? Why is it coming across that you are appearing to be a liar? Like, I'm not going to sit up here and call someone a liar, but all the roads are pointing towards Angela. allegedly telling a lie. Like, I'm so confused with why. Like, it's lame. Like, it is so lame of you, Angela. Like, oh, I don't know. I don't understand. It is so confusing. And why is Angela so like? What is going? Like I said, I keep saying what is going on. What is going on with Angela and Shamia? What has happened where Angela, like, she literally is coming across that, like, she has it out for Shamia. I am confused. And why is my light looking like this? Oh, it's this freaking camera. Hold on. Lord have mercy, Jesus. Oh, my lighting. Anyway, I mean, I'm still clear, so that's fine. And obviously, like, Shamia gets teary because, these are things that once you put out there, they can stick. And these are things that, yeah, they may not be true, but for some people, it really can affect your marriage, or it really can affect your life. And she also, or from my own, not my own personal experience, but as someone that comes from a culture where, you're very conservative. And I'm only saying that because Gerald's from Kenya, and from a lot of my African friends, or my friends that are from Kenya that I've seen, they're very conservative. Like, even someone just putting it out there that this may be happening, it's kind of a stain. It's kind of a bad look, because people in the village, they talk. People in the village will carry a tale or two and run with it like it's a fact. Like, it may not even be true, but people will run with it before they get all the facts. And I just don't think it's right. And I keep going on about this, but anyway, um, I feel for Shamia. My heart goes out to her, especially in this scene with this whole debacle with George and the donation, and she's so fine, I had to pay her situation. Like, that is crazy. So while Shamia is in the other room texting back and forth with Ashley, when Ashley confirmed or said that Angela was lying, Angela then is on the phone with, what's her name? Ashley. And Ashley pretty much is like, well, I didn't say that. And Angela was like, well, yeah, I'm burping on the camera. I said it. So I'm like, Angela, why? Why? Anyway, we cut to, I don't know what the next scene was, but then obviously we cut to the bit where they all start coming down. They're all dressed. Everyone looks nice. Everyone's in fur, in dark clothes. Like, I think it's so nice seeing them in non-beachy clothes, non-tropical clothes. Something different for a change for me. It's so beautiful. I love it. So we see all of them, slowly pile into their cars and slowly head out to the restaurant. And Phaedra mentions in her confessional that this dinner is pretty much like a redo of her soundbite that she had at her house, which was a mess. Was a mess, because I felt like, the soundbite itself was amazing. It's something I would participate in. Hell, I think I need that now. I really do need that. Like, I wish I could do that. Shit, if I was there, I would be like, what, screw you all. You all can argue. I'm just gonna go down the back. I'm just gonna go listen to this bells ringing. I'm gonna play the tambourine, eat the food, and then go home. Play in the water too, on the air mattress or float or whatever. So while they're sitting in the car on the way to dinner, Shamia Shamia says to the girls, I think it's K Michelle and Pinky in the car with her. So she pretty much says, you ladies look very beautiful. You represented me very well since I inspire you all to do everything. I was screaming. And then K Michelle said, yeah, we do everything you do. And obviously, pretty much in reference to what Angela, Cynthia, and Portia had sort of mentioned previously, where they felt that pretty much Shamia has puppets, and her puppets are these girls that she's always with. Interesting. When I could probably say the same for, it has nothing to do with this. Anyway, once again, everyone looks amazing. We see them all arrive. Well, we see them all still traveling. So in the car ride, Angela is still going on about this truth will prevail. How and why do you care? Like, why did you bring something up and then sort of add a little sauce to it, saying that this lady is sleeping with George? Because at first it started with the whole Atlanta Falcons, that's how she got a job. And then now then it's pivoted over to someone else or another situation. And pretty much what she's saying is how Shami is getting all these deals, how she's getting her jobs, how she's getting money is due to her sleeping with someone, which is insane. I think it's insane to put it out there, especially towards a married woman. I'm just saying. Um, so whatever truth Angela's looking for, like I truly hope it comes out, not because I care, but because I just want to see why. Like, why is she going so hard with this? Like, this is insane. Um, Kelly also mentions in her confessional, like, if someone's going back and forth, just have my feelings. I guess, like, just hurt my feelings with the truth, with whatever you believe is the truth, or just tell me right there and then, instead of, like, putting little seeds here and there, little seeds of doubt or little seeds of whatever Angela's doing. It's bizarre to me. This whole video is turning into pretty much an Angela video. So shout out to you, Angela. Not in a good way. Um, and then Angela also mentioned that she would like to clear up Shamia's comments, which I still think is not right. Only because this show to me has nothing to do with. Though Amari is a grown adult, it had nothing to do with her. I did not know why she needed to say that to Amari. I did not know why she even said that in the first place. So, Anyway, the ladies, we see them all arrive at the restaurant, and it appears that they do not know what a badger is. Now, me being Australian, I do know what a badger is, what animal it is. I'm not going to explain because, you know. And I was wondering why they didn't know. And then I realized they probably don't have badgers in America, but I don't know that. And I'm not going to Google it. It is what it is. So when the girls arrive at the restaurant, we see Shamia, Pinky, K. Michelle, and who else? Someone else. They arrived first, and then Shamia was like glad that they were all there because I guess she wanted to talk to them about something or clear the air because K. Michelle is bothered by Shamia's comments. And the way she's taking it is she just feels like, if we're going to be friends, please don't act like you, Shamia, are doing me a favor by being friends. And I think she's referencing the whole. I think someone had told or it had came to K. Michelle from someone that, or probably even Shamia herself, but I cannot remember, that they pretty much don't want her. It's hard to be friends with Shamia, or like Atlanta doesn't want her to be friends, or like I can't remember. I'm here getting my shit wrong like Angela, Jesus. Anyway, K. Michelle just wanted to clear the air with Shamia, which I feel is fine. Like, if we're going to be friends, let's be friends. But don't make it feel like I'm doing you a favor or you're doing me a favor by being your friend. Like, that's insane. That is crazy. And then obviously we see Phaedra, Portia, Angela, and Drew all arrive. And while they were sitting down, just chit-chatting, catching up with each other again, both Pinky and Kelly ask about, I guess they were just joking, I don't know, but they were asking about pretty much what kind of food would be served, and which I can understand. Like, obviously, you're coming from a different culture, a different country where you're used to a certain kind of cuisine, and you probably aren't familiar with Scottish food. Even I'm not familiar with Scottish food as well. So, and Phaedra was so funny in her confessionals when she was like, "If you eat processed vegan food and chicken and waffles, your palate does not require much." Like, Phaedra, please, Phaedra is undefeated when it comes to her comments in the confessionals. That was funny to me. Like, it was all because they asked for what was on the menu. Lord have mercy. And then while they were sitting there, Kelly then does a little speech. And you know what? I agree with her. What I agree with her is like her pretty much giving the speech towards Phaedra in regards to, Phaedra helping her. And she mentioned how, good it's been and how she's very grateful for it. So, like, hats off to her for giving credit where credit is due. And obviously she also mentioned about them getting to know each other, and we hear that all the time on all these housewife trips, and we see how that goes. So we already know how that goes because clearly what had happened at the house plus what is to come later in the episode. So Kelly wishful thinking, you all will be fighting again. I literally wrote it down. You all will be fighting again. So they, while they're chit-chatting, they then ask Portia if she can see herself settling down with a woman. And I found her answer very, very interesting. She mentioned that she always saw herself with a man, which is, pretty much like a heteronormative thing and a heteronormative way of thinking. I'm not saying that that is wrong. I'm just saying that that's just culture and what she was used to and what she thought was meant to be on the cards for her life. But I also, it was nice to hear that she, pretty much said that, like she pretty much pays all the bills herself where like she's currently living, and her life is her own and her daughter's, and like she's already paying for everything, so she can be with whoever she wants to be. And I think that's beautiful. I think it's beautiful to be open and be with whoever you want to be with and whoever you love. Like love is love, right? Anyway, and then obviously they then bring up that Pinky was once with another woman for like 3 years, and Phaedra says that I think she had known Pinky like for a decent amount of time before she even came on this show, and she said that she was surprised. She was surprised that Pinky was married or is getting married to Derek, or marrying a man. Interesting. I want to know the backstory, like why Phaedra thinks. Oh my god, I can't. And then like pretty much after that, they all just dive into the whole question of like who's been with a woman, who's been with a man. It's so reductive. Like we've had this conversation so many times. We've had this conversation so many seasons ago with pretty much the same people in a different format, in a different cast. Like at this point, let's just talk about something else. But for the sake of the episode, we'll talk about it. So Drew mentions that she has been with a woman, but she had been with a woman in like a threesome capacity, and it was because Ralph wanted it, like, and she submitted. As a man, I'm gay by the way, but as a man, I will say there is nothing wrong with submitting, but at the same time, I feel like the person that you are submitting to has to be someone that is worthy of your submission. Because what the hell I'm going to be here submitting to you, and you are Ralph, and you act like Ralph, and we see how Ralph is down in the basement, being Ralph, a mess. And then obviously the girls that have done it pipe in, K. Michelle mentioned like with her stylist or hairdresser or hairstylist, I believe. And Cynthia mentioned, her, I guess, kiss, and the kiss with Portia as well. She mentioned that her daughter Noelle is fluid. And she also mentioned, I think that's all she mentioned. Phaedra said she hadn't been with a woman, and there was someone else. Angela says that she hasn't been with a woman, which is fine. Like, it is what it is. Old news. Let's move on. And then, obviously, they bring up Shamia's name, and Shamia says that she has kissed a girl, but she never mentioned a name. And then Drew pipes in with her being messy and said that Portia had said that Shamia had kissed Candy, which allegedly, which made me think back to season 9 rumors and the whole thing of she doing them both when Phaedra said that. Like, I'm just like, I don't believe that Shamia has just kissed a girl. Just saying. I'm not saying she's kissed 15 girls, but I just don't think it's just one girl. That's what I will say. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Why is she acting all coy? I mean, maybe if it's something that maybe her husband doesn't want out, then sure. So be it. That's probably why. And then, obviously, while they're talking, Angela then speaks up to Shmia and sort of like kind of lures the question, not the question, but the lures there, tries to lure Shamia in again for like their beef about the whole NBA thing, whatever. But then she also addresses Shamia in regards to her comments about her daughter and how that was shady and inappropriate at the same time. And I agree with Angela. We're not going to beat a dead horse over this. I agree with Shamia. I agree with Angela as it pertains to her daughter and the comments that Shamia had made about Angela to her daughter, which was shady, but whatever. While they were talking, obviously, like Shamia got pretty much like very heated. The moment got very heated. Shamia was already amped up because obviously she has like bad blood issues with Angela at this point. So it doesn't take much for things to topple over, things to get to a boiling point. And Drew makes a point in her confessional, which I think is very interesting. She says that everything Shamia wants to say is pretty much a misdirection to Portia. And I think that's interesting because I also feel like from what I've seen on TV or seen on this episode of this not this episode but this season thus far, it comes across like Shamir will say something, but then she will not stand firm in it or she will not own it or whatever she's saying. She probably should be saying it to Portia, but she does not. And then Portia, each time Shamir's name comes up, she sort of disengages. And like I mentioned, whatever Shamir is saying, it's either in a group setting and then it is brought up and then she doesn't stand in it. So that's why when Drew said that, I was like, yeah, that's actually interesting. I can't fully say that that's the case, but I think that that's interesting. And then obviously it gets to a point where they all start. Well, Shamia pretty much says that, I guess Angela is like, why'd you say what you say? Why'd you say what you said? And Shamia is like, everything I say is pretty much a rebuttal to what you have said. And so far from this episode slash with this whole NBA issue or sleeping with NBA players, I've only ever seen Shamia rebut to what Angela says. Now, I could be wrong. I could be very, very wrong. But that's just my perspective and what I've seen. So just saying, Shamia. Just saying, Angela. And then obviously they then pull out the text messages and they're reading the text message from Ashley to Shamia, which we already discussed earlier, so I'm not going to get into that. And once again, why is Angela going so hard over this whole thing? Why does Angela care? Like, is there something that we don't know that has happened outside? That's what I want to know. Well, I mean, Angela's saying something happened outside, but we don't know if it's true. It doesn't seem like it's true. It doesn't look like it's true. None of the facts are aligning the way that they should be for us to believe. And then, you know what? Thank the Lord that the food finally arrives. Oh my God, because I was getting so tired of this. I'm so over talking about this little conflict. Like, I'm so over seeing Shamia and Angela go back and forth for however long now over the same issues. But I'll tell you what, though. The very last scene, the last scene in this episode where we had Favorite Cynthia, Portia, and Drew in the room, and then Kelly shows up, I thought that was beautiful. I thought that this was so heartwarming, and you know what? God bless them. I loved that scene so much, especially when they were sitting there encouraging and sharing with each other, especially when they were just being there and being present for Kelly and, giving, how will I say, not tips, but words of encouragement, even to Drew as well, because Drew did have a moment as well. But before Kelly comes in, Phaedra pretty much asks the group, like, have you seen this? And they show like a snapshot of a news clipping from the blogs or from online. And it's pretty much Kelly's husband filing a $200 million lawsuit to Bravo over comments about him on RHOA. First of all, Mark, buy. $200 million. What comments? I'm pretty sure half the comments that have been said or is being said about you on the show is true, right? Allegedly true, right? It is like in court documents. It is. You're just looking for money. You are looking for money. First, you are trying to take money out of Kelly's plate and out of your kids' mouths, basically, because you're stopping her from filming with the kids. Now you're doing this. This is insane. Anyway, clearly he's not going to win, like Cynthia said. Like, you're not going to win that. Yeah, bye, Mark. You are lame. Kelly walks in and then they ask her, like, is she okay? And, she pretty much, her face drops. She gives like a little sullen look. Like, I feel my heart goes out to Kelly. Like, God, this is hard, And I wrote here, it's so beautiful to see them being there for her. I mean, the way it looks, it seems like this group, as in this half of the group, like, they have a lot of differences. Like, obviously she has differences with Portia, I believe. I don't know if Kelly has any issues with anyone else, but like, I would have expected this scene to be her with Kelly, Pinky, and K. Michelle, but it was still nice to see her with them. Portia spoke up, in comfort, like trying to comfort Kelly, and she said that, you have sisters here. We love you and want to see you through the situation, and pretty much name every person in the group how, they want to be there for her, which I get. And I feel like they are there for each other through, like, the actual sensitive times, the actual moments that are hard, when they're not, dragging each other, and when they're not, pulling each other down and being accusatory with each other at the same time. But I digress. Yeah, I literally wrote down here, let's see how long this lasts. Like this kumbaya, my lord moment. Um, and then obviously Portia and Kelly hug it out, and then Cynthia in the back's like, take Portia off the list. I guess, the fight list or something. So I was like, okay, well, that's funny, whatever. And then while they were hugging, all I was thinking of was, I was thinking of the episode, or the scene where Kelly had the opening of her Nana's Chicken and Waffle Sandy Springs location, and Portia sends flowers, and then they then call Portia, and Kelly says, flowers from a broken person. Oh my god, that was so funny to me. So hopefully they've turned over a new leaf, and hopefully they are moving on, because I'm tired of them two fighting as well. It's annoying. Um, Drew obviously has her moment about her house situation with Ralph, and obviously it's come out that she could potentially be losing the house and all that. So prayers, and my heart goes out to Drew as well. I don't know if the divorce is finalized. Anyway, and obviously they all encourage each other, and pretty much they jump in with the theme of, like, starting over and it's okay. And Cynthia pipes in, and Cynthia mentions how literally just 5 years ago her life was so different to the life she's living in, the life she has now, which I think is beautiful. Like, a side note, for me, what I see when I see the Real Housewives of anything, like, I mostly watch Atlanta and Potomac, but from what I've seen so far, these shows to me show that you can have, a change of gear. You can have a second chance again in life. It doesn't mean that, you're 40 now, you're married, you're stuck in the situation, and that's it for you. No, it every day you have a new chance to change. And these ladies have shown, like, from the start of the series to now, how, like, Nene, for example, she didn't get her big break until she was in her 40s, as in, like, getting on TV and then doing her movies and all that, like, movies and TV shows. Kenya didn't have a child until she was mid 40s, I believe. Portia didn't get to be the Portia that we now see on TV until she was in her early 30s. And I think that it's beautiful that we get to witness, and we get to see that, there is life after 40, there is life after 30. I'm saying it as someone who's 31 now, and someone who's going through, like, a little bit of a change and transitional period, and coming to terms with the fact that the life that I thought that I would have is not the life that I have now. And whoa, didn't mean to get emotional. And I'm so grateful. I am so grateful for the fact that I get to get up every day, and I get to do things that will push me in the direction that I'm meant to be in, push me in the direction that I want to be in for myself. Because I am realizing that now my life is about me. My life is about things that I want. And I feel like this is my 30s for me. I felt like my 20s and early adult, or late teens, early adulthood was about following a script, about, being here, here, here. Now I'm me in the best way. I know I got off track there, but I just think that it was beautiful of Cynthia to share about the whole starting over, which then, triggered my memory about, to me, this is what the housewives are about. Like, they are showing you that there is life on the other side, life after divorce, life after you turn 40, life after you turn 50. Like, it is not the end. It is only the end when you are 6 feet under. So I guess it's up to us to make it count. This was not meant to be one of those videos, but here we are. Anyway, and Phaedra shared a Bible verse, which, I actually want to read the actual Bible verse, because I know this Bible verse. It is from Psalms. It is from Psalms chapter 35, and chapter 35 or 37 verse 25. I think it's 37 verse 25. I could be wrong, but anyway, it pretty much says, I have never seen the righteous forsaken, or their seed beg for bread. And, ooh, I think I'm getting emotional because it is something that is close to my heart as well. I am the child of a pastors actually, and it's something that my parents have always shared with us. And for me, what I take the righteous as is not someone that is into the church. I mean, no, I know that other people's definitions cover that, but for me, I just don't think that the righteous, pertains to just people in the church. I feel it as the righteous is people that, live their life good. They live their lives in a just way. They are kind. They are compassionate. They look after other people. They are very selfless with their giving. They are very generous with their time as well. And that's what I mean by righteous. And I just feel like if you always strive to do right and do right by yourself first and do right by other people, you will not be you will not be begging. Sorry. There is, I just feel like good will always find you. Yeah, it may not happen now, it may not happen tomorrow, but I can assure you that when you do need the good will find you. The good will find you no matter what, and no matter where, and no matter how, and no matter where on earth you are, or what on earth you're doing. It will find you. I truly believe that. So, that was a moment that really touched me, and that was like, it was a beautiful moment. And I'm very grateful for Phaedra for sharing that, not just with the cast, but, those of us who are watching, and those of us who are watching me now. Thank you. And I think that was like a beautiful end to the episode. But of course, Portia, with her silliness, she goes, pretty much, now go to your rooms and masturbate. Really, Portia? There is nothing wrong with self pleasure. Sex is a natural thing. Pleasure is natural, and but what? We literally were just talking about the Bible or sharing Bible verses like 2 minutes ago. Anyway, I thank you all so much for watching. I thank you all for joining me again. Please let me know what you think, and please be kind with your comments as well. I am only new to this, so I'm still stumbling my way through it. As you can tell, as you can see, I'm still trying different things, trying to figure out how I can make this better. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all for my next episode review. Good night. I love you all, and bye.